And I almost can guarantee, if it already hasn't happened, that there's gonna be a song that hits onto the Billboard charts that was recorded on someone's phone in the next couple years. Every day I hear excuses from artists that reach out to me that they can't make their music or their content for their music because of reason XYZ, whether that's producing it, recording it, writing it, or making content like short form or music videos. And I'm a huge advocate on my TikTok that for the content for your music to help push it and promote it, really all you need is an iPhone and maybe one nice microphone. But I've always left out the side of recording music because every app or system that I tried that wasn't the traditional like professional way to record music just always felt kind of half-baked and really underwhelmed me. And I was scrolling on TikTok the other day and I saw someone that recorded their song in an app called Bandlab. And I've tried a bunch of apps to record music before, but this one actually came out sounding pretty good, and the UI and the way that it seemed to work also seemed to be pretty good. So I decided I needed to jump in and give it another try, and that's what we're going to be doing in this video today. You see, I use my iPhone to make 90% of my content. Not only do I have to make content for myself, but I have a bunch of clients where I run their social media accounts. And I have a big fancy mirrorless setup with a whole rig on it, an external recorder like I'm using to film this right now. I have cameras like the ZV-1, I have the Pocket 2, I have a GoPro, and on and on. It's kind of honestly a problem because every new camera that comes out, I feel like I need to try it. But consistently, over and over and over again, my iPhone content for me and all my clients outperforms all the other type of content. And that was really hard for me to wrap my brain around at first because I come from a background where the nicest quality, the best gear is what's really going to help you. But I realized the side of the professional work I used to do in filming music videos and weddings and things like that is different than just people average consuming content on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. And I think how it goes is that when people see that type of content, it feels a little bit more salesy, so they don't even give it the time of the day. It kind of feels more raw to just see something recorded with an iPhone. And I also think as time has gone on, us as consumers have gotten more and more used to the iPhone look. We just accept it, especially because these phones are getting better and better and better. The line between a professional camera and an iPhone is getting blurred more and more. And not to go on a rant, but I've also just noticed it being easier to work with because I'm already sitting on my phone a lot of the time, so I might as well just edit some videos that I also filmed on my phone. I don't need to transfer a bunch of footage around. It's lighter to carry around and travel with. And I think that we're getting to a point where if you have any iPhone or any flagship Android phone, by the way, but if you have one of those in your pocket, I think we're at a point where you can't really be making excuses about not making content based on the gear that you have. We're getting to the point where only very niche specific things need specific gear. Like for example, I think if you're filming weddings, you're trying to film a movie, you probably won't be using an iPhone. You already know that. And if you're filming a movie, you're going to be renting an Arri Alexa. And if you're filming a wedding, you might as well go rent a Red because you're going to be able to charge more for your clients and give them a better outcome. But for almost everything else, you can use your iPhone. I'm not saying to not use a bigger camera. I'm saying to use the tool that works for what you have. And this brings me all back into music because as someone who uses their iPhone so much, I've always loved the idea of being able to record my rough ideas or even just record at all onto my iPhone. And that's where I've had interfaces like the iRig Stream Plus. I've tried different adapters for different interfaces, and the interfaces into the iPhone have actually gotten good. The quality into the iPhone is good, but the apps, the UI behind them is just falling behind. And I know I've been ranting, so to cut to the chase, specifically for recording, I see two types of artists, and this is oversimplifying it, but there's the artists who write lyrics on their phone or in a notepad, and then they go to a studio to have them recorded. And then there's the artists who write and record themselves at home. And I wanted to test the app Bandlab and see where does this fit in for the different type of artists. To give you a little bit of a background, I am a producer and a vocal producer, and before I took the last year off to focus on my own music and passion projects for certain clients, as well as finishing up a couple old contracts, I was running vocal sessions all day, every day for about 5 years. So that doesn't mean that my opinion trumps everybody and what I say goes, but I think it does give me some insight onto how this could actually work for artists who are actually working in the industry or people who want to work in the industry, but they don't have all the gear and equipment or money to go to a studio right now. And so I already saw the comments coming of, well, you're in a studio and you're going to be using a nice mic. So I wanted to kind of address that up front. I tried to set this situation up to be less than ideal. I have my AC going, I have my family and kids playing and running around upstairs, I have my dogs running around as well, I have some random water noises that are going to go off that sound like pipes. And for the microphone, I'm going to be using this $100 Aston Origin microphone. It's actually on sale right now for $100. It's an amazing mic for the price, but I'm not going to be using any of my fancy nice microphones. I'm not using a fancy interface. I'm not even going to be using the iRig Stream Pro. I'm going to be using a $50 Focusrite interface that I got on Facebook used and a $10 iPhone adapter that allows me to plug it in. And again, before we jump into into this, I want to say that I have never used Bandlab. I have just downloaded the app and signed in case there was any downloads that needed to happen in the background, like what's common with most DAWs, but I've never opened it. I wanted this to be an actual me testing it out for the first time to give you a real opinion. This isn't sponsored by Bandlab. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, and I'm sure I'm going to be doing a lot of things wrong in the app, so if you use Bandlab and you see something I'm doing wrong, please put it down in the comments to help other people who are seeing this video get some insight on how to use it better. And we're going to find out together if Bandlab is something that can actually be taken seriously in 2022. So that's where the scripted part of this video ends. Let's just jump into the app. I'm going to record my screen at the same time. We'll pick a random beat that I made. We'll write something to it. At the end of this is if we get a song that's actually good, we'll actually release it online to see if not only can you record on this, if the quality is good enough to release that project online. So let's jump into it. First, let's go ahead and jump over to Bandlab. It seems like at first you get this kind of social media feed here. I don't think I will be using that at all. I don't know if you hit this plus button here. No, let's try this file. Okay, projects, my projects, add new, go to import track. Okay, and then from here, let's go ahead and find some sort of project. Let's go Nightmares I actually made today, so let's just try to write to that one. So far, the whole process is easy to import. It said that it was 100 BPM in F sharp minor. Let's hear how it sounds. Okay, where do we set the BPM? I'm assuming this... Oh, you can add and write your lyrics there. That's actually really good. Okay, so it automatically found the tempo. That's great. It looks like it didn't get the key, so let's go ahead and set that to F sharp minor. Input device. Okay, let's change that to my Scarlett interface. It didn't say it changed, but I heard it click over, so I'm gonna assume that's a glitch in the app. Is this where we turn it down? See, I have no clue what I'm doing, so let's swipe over. Okay, let's turn it down a little bit so that I can record over it. What we're gonna do is kind of a rough vocal take over it, just starting off, seeing what the quality is like. So far, the app has seemed fairly straightforward on how to use. Again, I'm just right in the beginning of it. Let's go ahead and just click record. For this, I'm going to be doing same way I would be vocal producing someone, just kind of letting the beat play. Whatever come out, it's going to be a bunch of gibberish, random takes. I'm not going to be focusing on trying to sing it perfectly. I'm not going to be focusing on even trying to be in key, just whatever's coming to mind first, so then we can write over that. Let's do a verse. Get the part not today. I see what's on not today. He's a man of part of life's bad. Part of what is the best. I see the model for say tall, but I found a bit sad. I know that's a bunch of gibberish. I get it, but let's just see how it sounds right here. So let's scroll back. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is spend a second and write some lyrics over that so that you guys don't have to be here for that process and be bored of the 10 minutes it's going to take. But I'm just going to turn that gibberish into lyrics and then we'll come back in 1 second. Okay, so we're back here. We have some lyrics written. I really like this setup to be able to write your lyrics and record in the same place. I could see this being super valuable. Let's go back and just track these lyrics, I guess, and see what that process is like again. So click record, go into your, okay. Yeah. Oh my life. Yeah. Okay. Let's give that a listen back, and while we're listening back to it, let's go in and start trying to mix it a little bit. Oh, my life, I swear I might just I'm gonna turn down the auto-tune. Okay, I mean, the auto-tune isn't my favorite auto-tune. I much prefer actual auto-tune or meta-tune through Slate, but it's not terrible. It's definitely not unusable. So again, I'm just gonna kind of play it through and start mixing and see what we have. Okay, effects button right here. Looks like they have some like options already, but I don't know what those do, so let's try to make our own. Let's go plus, and first off, what I always like to do is roll off the low end, so high pass it. So let's go up here. Looks like tone, I assume, is where it would be. I don't really want a 3-band because I want something that can high pass. Easy EQ, is this high pass? Okay, so let's high pass it to about 100-ish. And again, I'm going to try to kind of fly through this, and then off camera I'll dial it in, but you'll see just the gist of what I'm doing, because I don't want to make this video like an hour long. So next, let's get some compression going. So dynamics, okay, they have an 1176 right there. So let's grab the 1176, kind of play it and listen to it. Set to a ratio of 8:1 already, which is pretty good. I like a slower attack, but I want to kind of hear what the compressor sounds like. They all got hustle talk, but they just talk so I don't hear that. I say fuck them all and I don't feel bad. If being them is hard, then why they still wet? Pardon while I kill that. My heart's been missing parts, but caught up, call me how you feeling that, yeah. Their compressors aren't too bad, actually. I have compressors that I prefer on the computer, but this isn't about if the computer is better. Obviously, you have more options from a computer. This is, can you make this work, and is this something that could be actually usable? So far, I like the sound of it. I think that it's sounding okay. Well, they have a de-esser. Let's use that, but I want to see if they have something to kind of like help that high end. Oh, a vintage oral exciter. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So let's click that. Let's try to add in some sort of reverb or delay. I don't know if you can do it on a separate channel or if I'd have to kind of duplicate it and then add reverb at 100% and delay at 100% or keep it on the same channel. I'm going to try to do it that way because that's the way that I would do it inside an actual computer. Maybe there's not a way to duplicate a track. There has to be a way to duplicate a track. Ah, no, don't move it. Okay, scroll over here. Maybe this. Duplicate. Okay, we got two. I'm going to make one for reverb, one for delay. So let's duplicate, let's name these. So I'm going to rename this delay, and just from experience, I know I'm probably gonna have to pull these down quite a bit. And then let's go into the effects. Let's go to the end of this and add in a studio reverb, turn the mix up to 100. And I'm gonna do a technique where you get rid of the highs and the lows and just have the mids to help it blend in more. Struggling with moving through the app, and that's just because I'm not used to it. Let's go to delay. We're going to do the same thing with the EQ and then add in some sort of delay. And normally I would only delay certain words, but I would have to kind of sit and chop this up. And again, that's something I might do after this video so that the delay isn't kind of getting muddy through the whole process. But for now, let's hear how it sounds. All my life, I swear I might just... Let's do some doubles for the verse, and let's do 2 takes of that. Oh, I guess what we would have to do, right, is go into here, into our effects, and save this. We'll do STICAUTI vocal. So I'm going to go ahead and record the rest of the track. I think I've seen kind of enough of what I need to see on how it actually works for recording. I don't want to bore you guys with me recording a bunch of background takes and doubles and ad-libs and all of that. And I'll be back to give you kind of the final listen of the final track, as well as my final opinion on Bandlab itself. Okay, we got the whole track recorded. I'm going to go ahead and just play the entire song through. It's like 1.5 minutes long, and you guys can be the judge for yourself on if it's something that you think could actually work to record your own vocals at home. I redid the lead take a little bit. I redid the backgrounds. I redid the reverbs and stuff a little bit, so it sounds a little bit different. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, all my life I swear I might just go like these nightmares. I need you right here, right? I say all my life I swear I'm trying, yeah. I get high too much, but I think I like it. Yeah, dog, I hustle talk, but it's just talk so I don't hear that. I say fuck them all and I don't feel bad. If being them is hard, then why they still whack? Pardon while I kill that. My heart's been missing parts, but call me how you feel now, yeah. What's the point of pointing fingers? I've been annoyed of going over this, it's your opinion. Hold me over this, been sober since you started creeping. October's all this sleeping, you sowing but hate what you reaping. They ain't have what you need, your word you had them with me. Over and tattered to pieces, so you sad and you think about your fantasies sweet. Never had half of the feelings or the things that you're speaking. Fuck, it's a pattern, I say what's the matter? You don't gotta answer but you pouting, and that's putting down inside of what I'm after. You around but you ain't not around, you feel me, it's all chatter. Fuck, I feel it's getting shattered. Yeah, all my life I swear I might just go like these nightmares. I need you right here, right? I say all my life I swear I'm trying, yeah. I get high too much, but I think I like it.
Okay, so what are my final thoughts on the app Bandlab and if it's kind of a practical solution for real artists working in the industry or, again, aspiring artists that want to release music but don't have access to a bunch of equipment or a big studio or a nice computer? Flat out, let me just say this. It's not going to replace my workflow of my M1 Max MacBook Pro inside of my studio using my nicer microphones in a nice sound-treated room. But I don't think that all of that stuff is necessary anymore. I'm going to go ahead and just release that track out out now. I drop a new song every Friday. By the time you guys see this video, that song's already going to be on Spotify, and I'll put a link to the song as well as all the gear that I used to make this song in the description of this video. But I'm doing that to kind of show that technology has come a crazy far way. The fact that there's an app on your phone that can record your vocals and in real time give you auto-tune, have good compression, have a bunch of effects, your phone doesn't freak out and overheat. The fact that you can even record it. I used to have a massive desktop computer that weighed 30 pounds to be able to record anything like that with effects and not have it glitch out and freak out the whole time. The fact that mics can cost $100 and sound as good as they do, when back in the day a $100 mic or $100 interface just clearly sounded really bad, and you kind of had this gatekeeper of price of getting you into the industry. So if you wanted to be taken seriously at all, you had to buy a few $1,000 microphone, you had to buy a fancy interface, or go to a studio that had all this equipment. And I think that we're at a point, again, like I was saying with video, where now even with music, you don't have an excuse. If you have an iPhone in your pocket, or again, any flagship Android phone from the last recent 3 years or so, you don't have an excuse. You can make content everywhere that you are. But that brings me into who would I recommend Bandlab to? What do I think it's the most useful for? And for me specifically in my workflow where I do have all this stuff, when would I use it? So first off, the biggest group of people I think this is for are people who are either just getting started, or they don't want to have a bunch of confusing equipment and they just need to record rough takes to show their producers. I would say this is the biggest group of people that I work with, and that I know that most of my colleagues work with. Is we work with artists and they come in and they already have lyrics written, but they haven't recorded those vocals over a song. So when they sit and they record them on the song, then they don't like it. So we might record 4, 5, 6 songs and they pick one of those that they actually like the sound of their voice over. And I probably shouldn't be saying this because I'm a producer as well myself, but I know a lot of producers send off beat packs that are tagged with their producer tag so that you can record and test out to it and try it before you buy the beat. But that's not what I'm seeing, at least in my experience, most artists doing. They're buying a bunch of beats and then they're recording their vocals over it and hoping it works out. What you could do is use something like Bandlab to actually record your voice over the song. Record it and see if you like the general way that it sounds, then take that to a producer or to the studio that you're going to go work at, show them that. The app is for sure going to give them a better idea of what you're expecting and what the song should sound like, and it's going to save you a ton of time. And if any of you have been in studios recently, studios are expensive. Studio time is expensive. So that could save you a lot of time and a lot of money as an artist by having a bunch of songs on your phone ready to go. So when you go to a studio, you know the lyrics, you know how you want to deliver it on the track. So that's group number one. That's the biggest group that I would recommend it to. Group number two is going to be people who are traveling and they want to travel light. So I can travel with just my cell phone, a small iRig Stream Pro interface, the microphone, and a mic cable. I could fit that all inside of a little pouch inside of my backpack and have everything that I need to record, whether that's in a hotel, a bedroom, wherever I'm at. And this is how I'm going to be using it. If I'm somewhere where I want to record, but I don't have my studio or I don't have my nice mic, I'm not going to bring my multi-$1,000 mic with me out just driving around in the car or toss it in my backpack. Tossing a $100 Aston Origin mic into my backpack, I have no problem doing that. And I've used that microphone on songs that I've released in the past. It sounds great. I'm not going to say it sounds the same as my more professional microphones, but the average listener is never going to care. And at the end of the day, people don't hear that you ran it through an actual LA2A and you used a $5,000 Manley microphone. They just hear the song. And it's the same for video. They don't see that you recorded it with a Red camera. They see the story. And just like the story is what's most important, the song is what's most important. All this fancy gear isn't going to make a bad song good. You can record a good song through bad gear as long as you do it properly and still get good results. That is how I'm going to use it. Now, there is one other group of people that I think this would be good for, and that's just beginners who don't have that or a microphone or anything. Just open up the app, record it with some $5 Apple wired earbuds, and use it in the same application that I was talking about before. Obviously, the quality's not going to be as good, but it's still going to get you most of the way there. And if you stack up 20 of those while you save up money for a nice microphone, then you'll be good to go once you have it. Do I think that we're at a spot yet to where you don't need a computer or a studio? That's a tough question because every DAW out there is going to be more adaptable. It's going to give you more options and kind of quote unquote freedom for making your music, but at the same time, it's going to be more complicated. So the part of my production mixer brain that's been doing this 15 years wants to say, no, that's never going to happen. These apps and stuff, it's never going to make up for it. But I kind of see where the process is going with not just music, but video and photo with AI and all this stuff. And I really think that we're hitting that point to where you really can do this professionally from just an iPhone. And what I like about using your phone is you can now record the music on it. You can release the music. You can make promotional content for it. You can record a music video for it. You can do so much with just one device that if people were asking me they wanted to get started and what to get into, I wouldn't be recommending a nice mic or a nice computer. The very first thing I'd be recommending is an iPhone. So none of this goes to say it doesn't have its downside. So let's talk about that. Its mixing capabilities have a lot to be wanting. Now, while I was making this video, I did get a text from one of my producer friends that told me that Bandlab actually has a computer online version, like an online DAW. So I might need to test that. If you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments. And I'm assuming that's going to have more functionality or be easier. But on the phone itself, chopping up vocals, moving things around, keeping things on and off grid, it's a little bit cumbersome to work with. I'm sure that you can get it to work. Obviously, this is my first time using it. I probably have no clue what I'm doing. It's better than all the other apps that I've used previously for recording yourself, but it still is just not up to par with a computer and using something like Cubase, FL Studio, Ableton, Pro Tools, Logic, etc., as well as the quality of the plugins. Now, don't get me wrong, they're really good, and the fact that it's free, a free auto-tune, like that was unheard of a while ago unless you were cracking the software. A free 1176, a free Exciter, a free LA2A, a free distortion plugin. There's all of these really good plugins, but the quality isn't quite where if you're a professional in the industry you're going to be used to. I really love my Slate plugins. I really love my FabFilter plugins, my Isotope plugins, my UAD, and the list goes on. And I like the quality of those more. But again, people don't hear the plugins. It's the song at the end of the day. And I almost can guarantee, if it already hasn't happened, that there's gonna be a song that hits onto the Billboard charts that was recorded on someone's phone in the next couple of years. I could only imagine someone like Juice WRLD having an app like this where he can freestyle for hours, people just being able to send him beats. He's sitting in his hotel room and he can just track himself on his phone and get 100 tracks done in a night, right? So I see the benefit and the power of it. I see where it's going. I just don't think we're fully there yet, but I definitely think we've passed the threshold where you can't really make excuses about making content anymore. I'm glad I got to test it out. I'm glad I saw people on TikTok using it and people reaching out to me saying that I needed to give it a shot. If you want to see me make more music in it or you have any questions, let me know. As well as if you want to see the process of me writing, producing, mixing, recording, doing the whole process in my phone, as well as mastering the song, making content for the song, making a music video and editing it all on my phone, let me know. I might turn that into a series here on YouTube if I have enough people wanting to see that, to just kind of once and for all put the nail in the coffin that you don't need a bunch of gear to start being an artist. You just need to put yourself out there, get the music going. But the two hardest parts at the end of the day is one, writing a good song, and then two, somehow finding a way to tell the world that you wrote a good song. It's so much harder than you think, and I see so many artists that all they do is write the music and they think that that's it, that they're done. Marketing and letting the world know that you're an artist is over half of the job. If all you want to do this is for a hobby, or you just want to kind of get better at this but you don't want to make a living off it, that's fine, then just do music. But if you want to make a living off this, you want to actually be an artist, and you have to just swallow that pill and accept that you need to market and push your music out and let people know that you make content. With apps like TikTok, Triller, Clapper, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, there's never been a better landscape and a lower bar for entry for you to be able to actually do that and get that information out to the world. So I'm going to quit rambling. That was my review of Bandlab. I appreciate everybody for watching. All my links to all the gear that I use for my music, as well as my personal music, is in the description below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, as well as hit the bell so that you can see when I'm uploading in the future. And that is it for me. Thank you for watching.